Good day, Sir Villaluz. Today, I am going to demonstrate on how to make an improvised polygraph machine using the indigenous materials. Step 1. Get at least 2 black PVC tubes. Step 2. Tie the 2 pieces of tie box on embedded form. Step 3. Tie the rope to the improvised clip. Step 4. Connect the rope to the improvised pneumograph PVC tube. Step 5. Connect the rope to the improvised arm cuff. Step 6. Attach the improvised arm cuff to the improvised pump. Seven. Draw the fourth tracing pen to the box. Step 8. Connect the improvised pneumograph to the box. Then attach the improvised galvanograph to the box. This time, I'm going to demonstrate the functions about the polygraph instruments. This is the pneumograph components. Pneumograph 1 is to record the respiratory activity of the subject, and it has two units, which is the pneumograph 1 and the pneumograph 2. Pneumograph 1 is also known as the thoracic pneumograph, which is attached to the thoracic part of the body, which record the changes of the heartbeat of the subject. This is the pneumograph 2. It's also known as the abdominal pneumograph, which is attached to the abdomen of the subject, which record the changes of breathing of the subject. The next one is the galvanograph component, which function is to record the amount of perspiration produced. This is the improvised finger electrodes that can measure the skin conductance and sweat activity of the subject. The improvised finger electrodes is attached to the index finger of the subject and the ring finger of the subject. The next one is the cardiofemograph components, which function is to measure the cardiovascular of the subject. The next one is the cardiofemograph components, which function is to record the cardiovascular of the subject, such as the blood pressure and the heart rate of the subject. This is the improvised arm cuff, which is attached to the armpit of the subject, as well as the improvised pump valve. So this is the improvised polygraph chart. The first two type of tracing is what we call respiration, which is the first two types. And the third one is what we call the galvanic skin resistance. And the fourth one is what we call the cardioactivity. And the last part of the tracing is what we call the activity sensor. In this activity, I gain a lot of knowledge and experience by making an improvised polygraph machine using all the basic materials as well as the use and functions of the components of the improvised polygraph components. This activity is considerable to the academe, especially the present situation what we are now, by learning new knowledge and learn more other things that is beneficial to our future needs. Yes, this activity can be applied when this COVID-19 will come to an end, and we have no trouble if we remember the way on how to make the improvised polygraph and the functions of it. This time, I'm going to discuss how polygraph works, and the preparation of the subject and the simulation polygraph examination of the subject. Preparation of the subject. The person is subjected to pre-examination interview during which its purpose, aim, and the purpose of polygraph examination to be followed should be explained to him to his optimum understanding. The tester should have the knowledge of the incident in order to get satisfying result of the test. In the second stage, he should be familiar with the questions and to understand the question's intention very well by giving an answer by yes or no. The subject has nothing to be apprehensive about any wrong study and interpretation of the polygraphic test, and if he does something stupid such as deceiving, then the result of the test will be reflected to his answers. In every test, the test subject should not exceed about 10 questions to be asked. There are 3 categories of questions to be asked. First is irrelevant questions. Second is relevant questions. The third one is the control questions. This time, we're going to make a simulation polygraph examination. The first is advising the constitutional rights of the subject. I am going to cite the RA 7438 to the subject, and according to RA 7438 Section 2, Paragraph B, it is your right to be informed in a language known to understand by you, your right to remain silent and to have competent and independent counsel. Be assisted by counsel at all times, preferably of your own choice, and if you cannot afford the service of the counsel, this department must provide you with one counsel. Shall at all times to be allowed to confer privately with the person. Be visited by your or have conference with any member of your immediate family, which include your spouse, fiancé, parent or child, brother or sister, grandparent or grandchild, uncle or aunt, nephew, or niece. The second one is to obtain the subject consent in order to undergo polygraph test. I put your name, declare that I submit voluntarily to a polygraph examination. No threat, force, coercion, or promise about immunity or reward were used to get me agreed to take this test. I understood that certain sensors must be put on my body during this test and agreed thereto. I am aware and hereby give permission that the oral and written results of this examination may be available too. Before we proceed to undergo the polygraph test, we need to check if the components are still in function. This time, we're going to ask certain questions to the subject. So, let's begin. Are you James Lawrence Caserva of the subject?
Yes.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
Is your alias named John Makaluya Yumi Makaakit?
No.
Did you join any kind of gang?
No.
Did you experience killing someone before?
No.
Under the age of 17, have you stolen any money over 5,000? At the age of 18, have you stolen money worth of 10,000?
No.
Under the age of 20, have you been in prison?
No.
Under the age of 20, have you convicted any source of crime?
No.
Did you betray some of your friends for the sake of money? Did you steal money from your closest friends?
No.
Did you regard yourself as an honest person?
No.
Did you regard yourself as an honest person?
Yes.
Did you regard yourself as a trustworthy person?
Yes.
For the following questions, have you answered all the questions during the process truthfully?
Yes.
Have you delivered falsified information you have provided from the question I asked?
No.
So this is the end of our activity, and congratulations.